here's your earnest money deposit, figure it out. Open houses were different. We had walk-ins in our office. That's where I got a lot of my business before, because I was in Pacific Beach down in San Diego. They'd walk in off the beach and it's all in the house, you know, but I was one of the people that I guess I knew that I was in the right place, because the first month in, I had 8 deals.
Oh, wow.
And it was, I go, okay, I must be doing the right, you know, I must be in where I'm supposed to be. Because you always wonder, oh, is this gonna be, but it was also San Diego and it was at the beach and people wanted to buy houses at the beach. And it was affordable then. Now, not so much. But anyway, so we're gonna be covering how to capture leads with open houses. We'll go over the benefits of an open house, some of the best practices, and look at the prepare, prospect, and pursue model. So, thanks. For the following questions, allow the voices. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys questions, and I want participation, because we're going to do some role playing too, because I think it's important to feel comfortable in an open house. Okay. So anyway, I'm supposed to ask if anybody's birthday falls in May. If so, happy birthday. Okay. Has anybody done an open house yet? No.
Long time ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the good, bad, or indifference?
No, I love open houses.
I love being in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I love looking at homes, being in homes. The worst part was probably putting the signs up.
Actually, I have a story about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but they do have companies that do that, or you can get your kids to do it. Like I have an adult kid, I map it out, put them here, and then I go out and look at it. I said, here, he goes, well, you didn't say which direction. I'm like, hello, your open house is over here. So we're gonna be covering open houses. And by the end of the day, you should be able to describe the benefits of holding an open house, identify the practices for holding an open house, and be prepared. I want you fully prepared to, and how to find an open house. That's not on here, but I have my team look for open houses. And I know you don't think, oh, in this market they do them. They will. The market's shifting. And you will be seeing things sitting on the market with out-of-area agents. And so what I want you to do is go into the MLS in a neighborhood and find all the out-of-area agents that have a listing. You call them up and you say, hi, I'm Brooke with Keller Williams South Bay. I specialize in your area. Can I hold an open house for you? They'll be like, I'm doing it. Well, great. It's not marketed yet. No, people won't know about it until, you know, so a lot of out-of-area agents just come into our neighborhood, get a listing, discount it, and then leave and never show it. So, and if they say it's already sold, but they're negotiating, say, have you put it on, you know, on escrow yet? Can I hold it open because I want to get buyers in the area? Because the thing that's going to happen, the best thing I find with open houses, well, we'll get to it because I go off script.
That's how I purchased my home.
An open house. People say people don't like open houses.
Yeah, I was doing an open house for Remax Palace Furniture Estate, one of the Remax companies, and nobody wanted to buy this particular home. And my husband at that time said, well, let's buy it. He was just driving by, seeing me do the open house. He said, well, let's put in a bid, and that's how I got my home.
So let me ask you, what's the number one reason? Well, there's actually 2 reasons for an open house, but for you to do somebody else's open house, what's the number one?
Prospects, leads.
Gain leads, right?
Yes.
So your job is to gain leads. So before every open house, I want you to set a goal of how many people you're going to add to your database. You know, how many buyers, how many sellers, make a goal. Because I swear to you, when you make a goal and write it down, the universe brings it. It's what happens. So, and why hold open houses? What is the purpose and goal of an open house? Well, 1 is to sell the house, and 2 is to capture leads. As a new agent, open houses are easy, fun, and low cost, which is really important for new agents, to find buyers. Your goal in holding an open house is not only to sell the home, but it is to put yourself in a path of opportunity. I wanted to see if anybody's online.
You want the light on here?
Yes. I don't know where he is, so. Yeah, whatever you guys need, make yourselves comfortable. I don't know if anybody's online. If you're online, say something.
I know, I'm immediately awake now.
Yeah.
Now we can keep up with you. Okay.
Okay, yeah, oh, that's why you guys were sleeping. So for many agents, holding open houses is their number one strategy to build a strong business and to get it as yours too. So I want you to understand, when I was new and I had those 8, first weekend, I was holding an open house. I met this couple, Maggie, and her husband, Chris, or the boyfriend at the time. They had a little house on Law Street. I'm not kidding you, it was a little house. And they came over to me, they liked me, I didn't know anything, I'm telling you, they're like, we want you to list our little house. I'm like, oh, okay. So they met me the night at the office, it was the night of the Titanic, so she's like, we're going to see the Titanic, just sign everything. The house ended up not selling, because it was, I'm not kidding you, 1 room. It felt like a boat, we called it the Love Shack, we had a full campaign for it. And what we ended up doing was, I got her to I talked to her, I said, you're better off building on this. Build on it, and they still have the house. And it's a beautiful home on Law Street in Pacific Beach. And she ended up getting her lender's license. She wanted to work with me. So a lot of weird things happen in this business. Since we're talking about open houses today, it's important to know this. Before engaging in person, consult your the COVID procedures. I don't think they are out there as much, but when we have a seller, if they're concerned, it's important to ask them, what do you expect? Do you want booties? Do you want hand sanitizer? I typically still kind of wipe things down just because I see kids and people touching things all over the place, you know, and so just have those little wipes, the thing of wipes, and wipe down things every now and then. That's what I did. It says to provide my own thing on open houses. So the limiting beliefs people have, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this, aren't I? I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not used to this. Nothing else about the business will have as big an impact as it is the #1 lead you have. So here's the beliefs, the limiting beliefs that people have. I don't have a listing to hold open. What did I just tell you to do? Go in the MLS. I have everybody, my new agents on my team do that. They go through, they find an out of area agent. And the way you do that is you can look by phone number or their, you know, on the MLS, it'll say OC something for Orange County or up in Pasadena or something. Those agents will take a listing and never do anything. So you're now, hey, can I hold these open? And you don't have to do it on weekends, you guys. The best ones I did, especially in a school zone, 3 o'clock afternoon in a school zone. You're putting up for sale signs, and guess what? Moms come in and go, oh, this is bigger than mine. And then they go home and get their husband. And then they call you and say, we want to see it again, but with him. So don't just think of weekends. Don't just like people are saying, oh, it's Memorial Day weekend or it's Easter, I'm not doing it. Well, I don't have any family anymore around. So I do it on holidays because Mother's Day is the best one to do because they go out to brunch and then they go out and look at houses.
Mhm.
You might not sell one, but you're going to get some buyers. So, and Mother's Day is coming up.
This weekend.
Yes, yeah, it's Sunday, right?
Yes,
Oh, great, I'm doing that.
you're doing it over
This-
house.
yeah, my mother-in-law owns apartments and she's 94, so I meet everybody first, to let them in and get the applications. And then I give her the top ones and the people that can afford to pay it. But some people, like, I have one idea how the rent $17.50, they sent me an application, how much to make a month, $800. I'm like,
I'll do the math. But what area is it?
San Pedro, it's a 2-bedroom, super cute.
For 1750?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
What's the square footage?
about 800.
Okay, cool, good. Okay,
It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
good. Okay,
I'll be up there Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 3, and 1 to 4. Ask me
I'll
after.
get your number, yeah.
Okay. So 6, let's see, I don't have signs yet. Okay, that's true, but I have a bunch of generic ones you can use. Okay, so no excuse. I may not know the answers to the questions visitors have, that's what we're gonna practice today. Open houses don't really work because most people look online. That's not true, they start online. But they're not gonna buy a house online without smelling,
seeing it.
getting a vibe. There's a vibe a house has, right? I say it every time, I go, oh, I don't like this. How about we walked into places and go,
Area, you know.
yeah, or you're hearing the guy next door blasting music, working on his car, oil everywhere, you're like, yeah, no. So, but it
Or
might be
maybe
great.
yes.
Yeah, and then it
Or
might be,
maybe yes.
yeah, it might be great for a dude that's like, yeah, he's working on cars, playing his music, that's exactly, but I'm just saying, for me, that would be no. And then I won't feel safe. So I'm a big proponent of you doing open houses together, 2 people. I call it tag team. There's 2 ways you can do it. So first off, let's say you and I go to an open house. We decide up front, are we gonna share everything or are we gonna tag team? Okay,
Every other one.
tag team means you walk in and it's her turn. So she'll talk to her, even though you may be drawn to talk to me, too bad. So that's what, because you'll see, especially when you're with an experienced agent, we have a way. We just have a vibe that we put out of this, I guess, more confidence. I know that sounds, but it's true. There's a confidence factor in this. So I want you guys to get that confidence. I want you to feel like, oh, yeah, I can do this. And even if there's this dumb questions, you text your mentor and say, they just asked me this, I don't know what to tell them. Guess what? If you have the right mentor, like I asked them, I was texting them back every second that they had a question. Sometimes it was 10 o'clock at night, a little stressful, but that's what happens, okay? But for an open house, if I know you're doing an open house and you're my mentee, I'll either go with you the first time, and that's best, because then you shadow me and you watch how I have a conversation. And that would be me and you, let's say you, and it's your open house, but I'm there to keep you safe, knowledgeable, and help you with the questions, okay? So, as I met, oh, she keeps reminding me of that, sorry. I don't know, they can't see me, as long as they can hear me, she said, right, something like that, right? So anyway, those are the biggest things that people run into that they're afraid to do. Capture leads, that's your job, that's the agenda. So sellers, buyers, neighbors, you, the agent. So of that, they say sellers because I do a thing beforehand. I will typically, if it's a great listing and I haven't put my sign up yet, so think about it. This is once you get a listing, your best thing to do, I think, is tell the neighbors. So, because you'll find when you get a listing, 3 neighbors sell their house within 2 months after that, for some reason. You get 1, you'll see 3 around it. So the best thing, there's a couple practices you can do. And I know this is a little off open houses, but I want you to understand the listing and getting another listing, okay? So you leave the house, you've got a signed contract, right? So now I knock on the neighbors directly across the street. Hello. You know what your neighbor just did? No,
So for $1 million.
no, it's not sold yet. So, okay, so the story, yeah, the story is, guess what? I just listed their house. If you know anybody, or if you're thinking of moving, moving out, because that house, it's like a 4 bedroom and hers is a smaller house, yeah. So I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna be putting it on the market, open house this weekend, it's no signs up yet. You're the first to know. Go to Matt, knock on his door. Hey, Matt, how are you? Good, I just want to let you know what I just did. I listed your neighbor's house. They're moving to Tennessee, and I just thought I'd let you know in case you have any friends, family, or if you're thinking of something. I'm gonna be doing an open house this Sunday from 1 to 4. I'm having a neighbors, a private party for you guys to see it. From 11 to 12 or 12 to 1, whatever. I always go 12 to 1 because then it kind of lingers, and when people get there, there's a lot more people. So did you guys get that? So a listing, that's one way to do it. If you're afraid to knock on doors, which by yourself you shouldn't as a woman, I'm going to say that. Knock, step back, look them in the eye, do not wear sunglasses. So you always, when you knock, step back, wait for them to come through. I'm doing it right now, canvassing for the city council, right? Step back, it's like my old, door knocking stuff came back out, oh yeah, you gotta back up a little bit, because you know, it's intimidating. And if they ever invite you in, if you're by yourself, if you get a weird vibe, don't do it. Now, if it's a little old lady, as long as she knows she doesn't, yes, but a lot of times say, you know what, I'd like to come back to my park.
Could be, what's his name?
Casey, or
No, the little old lady, it could be, motel.
oh,
Psycho.
yeah.
What's his name again? No, the character.
So another thing about
Sorry.
safety. So another issue is this, one time I went to preview your property and I got there and there was shoes outside. And I'm like, I'm nervous because it's vacant. So I called Kathy. I wasn't with the client yet, they weren't there yet, but I gotta call Pilar and say, hey Pilar, can you bring me the yellow folder with that address? So 123 Main Street, right, wherever you are. You say, and she knows, okay, Lauren's by herself, she needs me to come out there, I'm gonna come. But if I say bring the red file, let's say somebody showed up while I'm there and I'm not feeling it, I'm scared. Hey Pilar, you don't want them to know you're calling. Hey Pilar, can you bring me the red file for 123 Main Street?
Okay.
She knows to show up and call the police. So that's my code, it's not a standard thing. The other thing, to never park in the driveway, because they can block you in. And besides, it's rude. You know, if you're, it is, you're parking in somebody else's driveway, if they tell you it's okay, but the problem is, oops, sorry, I'm handicapped here, okay. Be purposeful, not entrepreneurial, think about your market numbers, pick the house, open houses, best practices. So this is actually a really good, I think you guys get a guide with this, right? Do you get a different one than I have? It says refer to participant guide. We know that the two main goals for open houses are sell houses and generate leads. Who does the open house benefit? Go ahead, Brooke.
I mean, the people who are coming to see it and also the person who's hosting it.
Right, and the seller, because you're getting more eyeballs in the house, right? Me as a listing agent, I say, oh, hey, he's trouble, watch it. Me as an agent, when I go on a listing appointment, I say, you know, it's standard, you're probably gonna get about 40 eyeballs. You know, 40 people through, how many eyeballs came through? And you see, so there's a tracking on your website, you wanna show them those on HomeSnap and all those places where it shows who looked at them, Zillow, and it tells you in the back office, how many eyeballs looked at it, you want that information. So it's good for the seller, you get bodies in there. So now you can have a discussion with them, look, we had 300 people through your open house and showings, and we have no offer. That's great for the listing agent, right? Because you've got information for them. It's great for buyer because a buyer can come in, no obligation, they're not working with an agent, they don't have to make a commitment, but they get to see the house. So when somebody walks in, I don't know if we're there yet, but okay, so I pick the house, right? You prepare and practice. Preparing for an open house would be, what are the schools in the area? What are the parks in the area? What are the restaurants in the area? And what is the entertainment if there is any in the area, right? What are people doing there? Like if you did it over, like in 90501 in Torrance, we got a little downtown there. You talk about that. Maybe you have food from one of the restaurants. You work with those local businesses. Where the hospitals are, that's important. People want to know that we've got 2 hospitals in this area. For Redondo, Gardena, I mean, you've got Torrance Memorial and Little Company. And now they're building more urgent cares. There's another urgent care going in over at Marie Callender's. I don't know how many we need, but It's telling me that they're setting us up for another lockdown, but maybe that's just me. So, like I said, you can go through, it says 51% of buyers research their homes during open houses. So if you watch somebody come in, oh, another question that happens, they walk in, hi, Clark, or hi, I'm Lauren Potter. And I typically shake their hand, say, welcome. Let me ask you a question. How did you hear about the open house? Did you see the signs? Or did you see it online?
Oh, my mom saw the sign.
Okay, so these are two different conversations. The next one I'm gonna ask you, and you're gonna tell me you saw online, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so, great, so you don't know that much about the house?
No.
Okay, let me show you around. Here's the flyer, so that's when you give them the information with your info on it. You say, I'm not the listing agent, but I'm very familiar with the area, so they've asked me to cover it. Boom. You put that objection out of their thing. I grew up here, I know the area really well, so they've asked me to cover it, and so I'm here to show you around. When they walk through the house, you let them go in front of you. You do not go in front of them, because you can get shocked. I had a really bad experience in open house once. I almost got out of business my first 2 months in because of a bad experience. So I'm telling you things that I've experienced, okay? So, and it ended up not being bad, but it was creepy, frightening. It was horribly frightening. Because you get that, we know, right? You can tell when something doesn't feel right.
Spidey senses.
Yeah, real spidey senses. Hey, Max, come on in. You could have used this. He was door knocking the other day, I have to tell you. Aaron was doing an open house. He was door knocking, inviting the neighbors. It was on next door. They're like, who's this guy at the door? And I saw his picture. I sent Max the thing. Hey, great job. He did everything I told you to do. He knocked, rang the bell, knocked. He tried to reach for the screen because there's a knock on the door. Stepped back, took his sunglasses off, and stood there. But everybody on the next door said, oh, this guy's trying to break in. It was crazy. It was ridiculous.
So like warning 3:30
Yeah.
alert.
Right, so
Be
I,
careful out there, people.
yeah, right. So just so you know, cameras are everywhere. Even when you're holding an open house, be careful what you say. Because owners hide cameras.
Yes.
That's what happened to Erin and I. At the
Really?
last open house, yeah. She came after we were packing up. She started talking about moments during the open house who we were talking to. It was, yeah.
Ricky. Yeah.
So I want you guys, that's a very important thing. I want you to think every house has a camera. So what does that mean? We don't say the house is a piece of crap. We don't say the sellers are crazy.
Instead of dancing like no one's looking, you dance like everybody's looking.
Right. So that makes sense. We have to remember, I have a camera in my house. I want to know if somebody's coming up, you know. There's reasons for that too, but, so always think, they're hearing me, what's the best words to use? I have to be careful because I say it like it is. So I'm now going through my head going, camera,
Yeah.
as I walk up. And as I've been canvassing, you know, I'm dropping out of it. I say, hey! I got some Joanne. Joanne's a title rep with Orange County. If you don't have your title set up yet, you need to, because that's where you get all your data. Go see her. You have your cards here? Make some for them, okay?
And you had a person that brought good material.
Well, I'm doing the open house this year. I did that. Yeah, that's good. Just,
All right, girl.
most of us have it.
Okay.
so, okay, let's start again. So like, if you're doing an open house, she can do your prospects, walking afterward. What I like to do is okay, here's this owner, right? So Max house, we go there, that's our open house. We want to ask them for the walking farm for maybe 100 homes, 50 homes. And what's great about it is it'll say owner Max, site address, and then it'll have mailing address. If the mailing address is out of state, you know that's a renter. So now when you're going to the door, your conversation is different. You say, hey, how are you? We've got this listing down the street. I want to invite all the local residents to sneak peek. Are you owning or a renter? You know the answer because you've done your homework. So that's part of the preparation, okay? And then there's, well, come over, because which you rent, you're probably paying about 30, because we know the rents, that's the other thing, find the rents in the area. Because that's one of the conversations we're gonna have. People say, I wanna buy it for an investment, what are the rents? You need to know that. Okay? So anyway, we talked about that. Pick the time. Typically, the time should be, in the summer, I do 2 to 5. In the winter, when it gets darker earlier, I'll do 1 to 4 or 12 to 3. Typically 1 because it's after church, because it's on Sundays. But I told you guys, the best open houses are during the week after school if it's in a really great area. And you don't want an open house. So let's say you're going down Sepulveda, okay? And you turn on Madrona, then you turn on, oh, yeah, and then you turn left again and right again and left again. That's too far away. So you want it only about 3 turns, if you can. Just because I've gone to find open houses, and I'm like, where the heck? They got one sign, and then you go up 4 more blocks, and you're like, well, which way was I supposed to go? Oh, forget it, right? So your directional signs, always borrow signs, like I said, you guys, if you do one, I've got generic signs. Another ordinance that's important is to find out how many signs you're allowed to have in that city. Torrance is 6. But,
I didn't know that.
you didn't know that?
I didn't know there's a limit on.
Yeah.
limit on signs.
They're not really bad about it, but that's, RPD and Palos Verdes are horrible. You can't leave them overnight. Like, what I do though, is I'll have 6 of my main ones, and then I'll put some generics out, right? So, just FYI, there's ways around it, but just be careful, because they'll take your signs. And then you have to go retrieve them, and then they lecture you. You feel like a child. Okay, so pick the time. In the summer, 2 to 5 is great, because they're coming home from the beach. So you have to be prepared for that. If somebody's driving by and they're coming from the beach, what does that mean? Sand. Right? So how do we do that without being rude? How would you, can you wipe your feet, please? Can you make, there's people that have come to an open house with a dog. Walk in, I'm like, it's not my house and they have allergies. Do you mind? Well, then I'm not looking, okay? Sorry.
Yeah.
There are people that get really offended when you ask them to take their shoes off. Sometimes you have an Asian owner. That's their culture. They want you to take your shoes off. You better honor it. If, like we had the one in Costa Beach, she wanted us to wear booties. Okay, or take our shoes off. We asked her if we could do the booties. She goes, no, I want shoes off. I go, well, some people won't do it. I don't want to send them back down the 4 flights of stairs. So we did booties. So you can ask the owner, is it okay if I have them wear booties if they are uncomfortable taking their shoes off? Because I had agents stand there at a broker's open, but I'm not coming in then. I go, okay, well, then your buyer might come to us. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, I kind of say how it is, how I think, which is dangerous. So you pick the time, what else? Prepare stats. So that's another thing. The broker metrics that you get, that they show it over, what is that, our Wednesday meetings, sorry, and our team meetings. Go to Ben, go to Simon and ask them and say, can I get the metrics for this area? You can make it as big as you want. You can do it by area. You can do it by blocks. If you just want to say, look, there's been no sales in here. So then go back further, okay? Say nobody's sold in the last 3 years. This is a screaming deal, that kind of thing. I'm telling you right now, there's not a lot of open houses, but they're starting. You'll start seeing BLMKs, which are back on market. That doesn't say BLMK, but it'll show active and then off market, then back on, and then arrow down. Start watching for the arrows down. That means they're dropping the prices. The market's shifting. Yes, Max.
I just want to say something. The way that I look for open houses is I look on just who in KW has an active listing by typing the office codes. That's not necessarily the best way because you can also go to other brokerages too. I just do our office because I can, just because I kind of know people. But putting in the office codes, let me know and I can give you those codes. And it's you can just see all the listings that everybody has in these offices.
That was one thing you could do too. I told them to go on out of area agents that have listings because they just list them and don't do anything. So those are,
Okay,
that's another way to do it. Like OC, PBR, different things on the MLS, because they may have a 310 number, but they're out of area and you know it. So it's important to do, and actually, if you hear at a meeting that somebody's got a listing coming, you can say, if it's a single agent especially, hey, do you have anybody to hold it open? Or, yeah, so-and-so is, but you can do it with them. And like I said before, you decide up front if it's a tag team or shared. Because the problem with the shared, let me tell you, there's pros and cons on both. So you and I are doing an open house, and I'm a regular agent, I'm not me, okay? So we're doing an open house, and we decided to share them. But you end up doing all the work. You're the one following up, so you've got to determine up front what your strength is. You're great at follow-up, you're not. Okay, so great, you're gonna do the follow-up, I'm gonna do the contracts. So just make it very clear going in, okay? And you may not know that you're not good at follow-up until you get all these in your life. But just split them, and then you find out if you split them, let's say you got 20 people come through, and 10 of them don't have agents. So now you have this list, and you're doing 5, and she's doing 5, and she's not, you have to check in once a week. What's the status? What is it? Oh, I didn't have time. Take it over. You still have an agreement, and I would get in the meeting. At the day of the thing, we agree we're gonna split it 50-50 no matter what, and come up with it. I'm telling you guys, I've seen bad things happen where they go into the broker complaining. Unless we can bug Simon with this kind of stuff, the better, okay? But if your mentor's doing it with you, they're getting your share anyway, so they shouldn't ask you to split it. That's FYI. That's my opinion. Okay. So we prepare the stats. You guys got that? And be safe. What did I tell you about being safe? Let me hear some of your.
Don't park in the driveway.
Okay. Matt.
Person touring the house should always leave and would never get trapped in a room.
No, they leave. Yeah, you. Right. Yeah. PR. Another safety.
The red folder, yellow folder phone call. So if you are feeling uncomfortable with somebody who's there, you can call your teammate or somebody you know is on standby and request the yellow folder for 123 Main Street so they know to come over and help you out. If it's a red folder request, then your teammate
They need to call the police.
may need to call the police
Yeah.
and also come over.
Right. Especially if it's another female, right? Because what's she gonna do if I'm feeling trapped or whatever? There's another app you can use called Noonlight. Have you heard of it? So I would do this at every open house. It's called Noonlight, NOONLIGHT. Get it ready, and it sits on your phone and you can hold it. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, you're holding it while you're walking through, let it go if something happens. They automatically call you, and if you don't answer, because I always have it on silent when if you don't answer, they'll send the police. They can track you better than a cell phone normally. So that's a really good app. Because stuff's gonna start happening, you guys, when people get desperate. And we're going into that kind of time. I'm just telling you from what I've seen. When I was in it, 98, was coming out of it, and there were some bad people. And that was San Diego and La Jolla. We still have it. So don't think because we're in a good neighborhood that things are, hey, Sue, everybody meets Sue Hoffman. She's the new member to our team. She specializes in Orange County, so if you have anything out there, you can refer to her and get a referral fee and not do the work. It's great for gas saving. Okay, let's hear from you guys. Any? Okay. Oh, I just clicked that. Any ahas? Anything out of that that you guys got that you didn't know? No. Okay.
The folders.
The folders. That's fine. Or safety
That's really
issues.
good.
You know, the other thing is that I didn't know. Oh, another thing is that open house, do not sit down. So there was this gal Marie, when I was there, I worked with her in open house. She was an experienced agent, so I want to see how she did it. She would be reading a book, people would walk into the hike and sign in, and that was it. If you ever do that, and you're a Keller Williams, I'm gonna haunt you until you get up and do it right. So basically what should happen, stand up, we're gonna do it. I'm coming to the door. Oh, is this the open house? Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yes, it is. Here we are. How do you do that? Yeah.
Yes, welcome. My name is Brooke. How did you hear about the event?
Hi, I'm Lauren. I saw it online. My agent sent it to me, so there's a clue. You haven't, they haven't.
Who's your agent?
Oh, great, who's your agent? Do you mind saying again, put your agent's name? Okay? Because that way, if, when they call, you know who it is, right? Second thing is she says, I got it online. Oh, so you could say, oh, do you have an agent?
Oh, do you have an agent?
No, I saw it on Zillow and all those places. So your conversation now would be, oh, so you know it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and $1.3 million. Yes, right? So I know that. So now she would say, oh, have you been looking long? Have you been looking a long time? Is this your price range? It kind of leads into those things. We'll do some role play later, where I'm the person or I'm the agent. I should probably be the agent, so you guys can see the different ways to do it. But come at me with different perspectives. Okay, one is saw it from their agent, another one saw it from signs, and another one online. Okay, and we'll talk about all those objectives that come up. Okay. So another thing is prepare, prospect, pursue. Of the preparation, what did I say at the beginning? Set a goal. Since you know the house, you should know how fast things are selling, and you should know the neighborhood. And you're going to be door knocking the day before or the day before, a couple days before, drop flyers to say you're invited to a private VIP open house for owners, neighbors only. Because a lot of times they want to come in, but they don't want their neighbors, they don't want outside people knowing that they may be looking at something. I don't know. So, or other times neighbors will come during the open house. Say I'm holding a private from 12 to 1 and then 1 to 4 or 2 to, depending on if it's summer, 2 to 5, because people are at the beach till 2. So that's why I say that. 2 to 5. 2 to 5 is the open house, right? And so you put on the flyer, VIP, neighbors only, 12 to 1 or 1 to 2, and then public open house 2 to 5. So they know there's an option. But with the private one, you want to have some kind of pay, some kind of water, cookies, something. Okay? And I would typically, when I do a closers open or an open house, I typically have food from a restaurant nearby. I work with a local business owner. Because you tell this is from Scardino's across the street or something, right? So you're helping the business, the local. I'm a big believer of working with the local businesses. You also can go to an insurance agent and say, hey, people that are buying this need a homeowner's insurance. Can I put your stuff out there? Guess what? Now you've got a referral partner. So a lot of things like that can happen. Okay, so you're preparing. The difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. So prepare, prospect, pursue, prospect. Okay, prepare. Most of the work of the open houses is done all is done before the day of the open house. Prepare your mindset. Don't go with those limited beliefs that we talked about earlier. Believe that, okay, my goal is 10. Put it 10 new buyers, or if you want 5 sellers or 2 sellers and 8 buyers, whatever it is, be really clear on your goals. Put them on your mirror. Okay, we're gonna get these. It works, you guys. It's the weirdest thing. And then practice conversations. Practice with your teammates. Practice with other agents. Go in to an open house and see how they treat you. Right? Watch what they say. Take what you like, leave the rest. Because there are agents that aren't good. So Monday, this is what you're going to do on Monday. You're going to go select a house. Okay? Which way? However, you can call. You can reach out to some Keller Williams agents. If they all say no, then go to the area agents. Okay? Those are really likely most of the time because they don't want to come. If they're up in Encino, they don't want to drive down here for 4 hours and have a buyer from this area that they have to come back down for. And you want to work with a lender. So I go to Chris And I would say, do me a favor, do a loan scenario for me on this. So he can do a loan scenario and have those letters out with his cards too, or he can work it with you. There's that other person, you guys, because he won't take half the deals, okay? So, but he can help you, or your lender, I don't care who, but I'm just saying, your lender is great because all the objections about the interest rates and all of that stuff, guess who's gonna help? Yeah, so that's a great person to have too. So that's another thing, you can prepare by asking them. You can go through your MLS. Community, wait, go back. Okay, so select the house Tuesday, post online. So once you've got it approved, you're gonna post online in your Facebook. I hope you all have a Facebook business page. If you don't, get one. That's another class, but get one. Walk, handing out the little invites. You can make it on Canva. You can ask people who are good at it. You guys are all young. I'm sure you're really good at that stuff. I suck, but I still do it. You know,
She does it, she does it.
I do. You know, and then do your check your spelling. Right now I made mistakes. Wednesday, post online again, install the yard sign, that there's an open house. I don't, you know, that's somebody else's listing. You can't put your info. You can't change the signs out. I've seen agents do that. You can't do that. You're not the listing agent. So be clear. If you can put open house, writer, and then like I said, if you come in to my open house and you'll go, oh, is this the open house? Yes. Let's say the listing agent's Pam. Oh, Pam told me to come by. Stay off of them. They're not yours. Pam is already told, right? But if they come in and say, I saw the signs, and you go, oh, welcome. You saw the signs, so here's the flyer. Like, you know, I'm not a listing agent, but I work the area all the time. I know it well. You know, you want to make them feel comfortable about talking to you. And then they'll say, well, I want to work with the listing agent. Why? They think they're gonna get a better deal. No, the agent's gonna make more money. So we'll have those conversations too if you want, because I get it all the time. And I finally ask them, why? Why do you want me to represent you? Well, because you're the listing agent. I go, it's actually a conflict because I'm working for the seller. Right? I am. So that's what I do. Excuse me, it's that AC. Excuse me. Typically, I would refer it out to somebody on my team. If a buyer came in and said, I'd say, hey, Sue, this one seems to fit you well. Do you want to take this one? Because I have a thing set up for them. You could do the same thing if you're the listing agent. You can find an agent in the office that you like or that you work with and say, hey, do you mind? And you tell them that up front. Look, I have agents that I work with, they'll do the buyer side because it's a conflict of interest. It isn't legally, but it is in my sense, because if you read it, your fiduciaries to the seller on the agency, how can it be to the buyer too? I contingencies, you want 15 days as a buyer for inspections. As a seller, they want 7. So if you do it, you're gonna be very clear. Seller wants short this, seller wants this, and what about price? So I'm not discussing that with you. You have to do your highest and best. You never discuss what they know. If you know that they'll come down or if they'll go up or whatever, what their base is, you never tell them. Because they could have made 20,000 more, right? So there's that. Wednesday, post online again. Thursday, post online again. Invite your database. Command, if you haven't set it up, it's a little bit of a hassle, but get your numbers in your phone uploaded to the command. Post online again, prepare market stats, because you want to wait till the last minute, print flyers. The other thing I do is I'll print everything active in that neighborhood or surrounding. Like, let's say it's area 128, the Riviera. Well, there's the Torrance side and there's the Redondo side. I still print everything active on 128. Then I print all the open houses. And then I print everything that's pending and closed. So they have everything right there for that area. They see, oh gosh, that was only 30 days on, that was this days on the market, this and that. And then you invite them to download your app. Okay, say, hey, because then you can track it on command. It shows every time they're doing that. So that's, oh, Do you see it said door knock, post online prepare, says print flyers and door knock, that's inviting the neighbors. And you don't have to have the VIP thing beforehand, you don't have to, especially if it's been on the market for a while, doesn't make sense. But you still want to invite them, door knocking, because I'm gonna tell you, you can get a seller, there will be 3 other sellers that will sell when a listing goes out, it's just a weird phenomenon. What clients like to know, this is the questions people will ask. Community and neighborhood information. Remember what I talked to you about, when I said the, know the parks, the schools, the restaurants, you know, maybe if it's a senior neighborhood, what are the 55 and older things happening in there, you know, is it an active community or is it for slow people, you know, I mean, you want to know all that. And sometimes when you're door knocking, you can ask people, what's your favorite part of the neighborhood? Right? Say, hey, what do you think of this neighborhood? Why'd you move here? Why'd you move here? Relocation information. So some people may be coming, oh, that's another thing, I'm sorry, that makes sense. The big jobs in the area. So if you know a company's coming into town, you want that open house. Right? I'm not trying to get Elon Musk to bring Twitter to Torrance. Torrance Twitter, I think it would work. I don't think he will because California is too taxed, but it was a thought. First time buyer specifics. A lot of our homes aren't first time buyers prices, but know that that's the stuff from Chris where he talks about how much you can put down, VAs or zero. Know that stuff. Mortgage information, there we are again. Oh, here, this was a thing on the bottom here. It said RESPA. RESPA Keller Williams agents must provide an ABA. So let's say you're working with your lender there at the open house. Okay, so Chris is with you. We have an affiliation with him, and the ABA is an associated business affiliate. We're going to make money from them. Up front, you should have those there if our escrow officer's there or our title's there or anybody that you've got to find out which ones are on. It should be on an ABA form. I would always have those at the open house. Okay, if you have the lender. And you just have them sign it and say, you know, just so you know, Keller Williams benefits from this lender. And that's the same with Keller Mortgage. And I don't know if they do with Chris, but that's just something to find out. Greet everyone that comes to the door, engage in conversation, be positive. We did that. You guys want to do a little role play? Okay. Who wants to do it? Matt, do you want to be the agent or the customer?
So you be the agent.
Okay, so come on.
The expert.
Okay. So the door's open. I've got the invite. Hi, I'm Lauren.
Hey, Matthew, pleasure.
Matthew, nice to meet you. Did you? How did you hear about this open house?
I stumbled upon it, just walking around the neighborhood.
Oh, so you live locally?
I do a couple blocks down.
Are you a renter or do you own?
Renting it.
Great. So this place is amazing. I'm going to give you the flyer. You review and look around and then make yourself at home. Always say make yourself at home. Make yourself at home and let me know if you have any questions.
Perfect.
Especially on a vacant home, they can walk by themselves. If you go ahead and you walk through, and so let's say you ask a question about something that would concern you.
When was the house built?
You better know that, right? It's on. It was built in '64, but they did all the remodels with permits back in 2006. So they added this back room back here. It is permitted, so you'll see if you sometimes if you decide to move forward with this, sometimes title's wrong because recording takes a while. So, but we do have the permits approved. Are you, have you been looking or is this just because you were walking by?
A little bit of both. It's been in the mind to not throw the money away renting.
Yeah, your landlord gets rich.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
so let me ask you this. Have you spoke to a lender? Do you know your price range?
I don't.
So that's helpful because the interest rates are creeping up. So I work with a gentleman, you can go to your bank. Banks have a lot more rules. The brokers are great because they just have a lot more leniency. But if you like, if you sign in for me, and then I can get Chris to contact you, or you can contact him, you'll have his card, your money, and get the process started. Because in this market, You need to be approved before you bring an offer.
Gotcha. And like the approval step, what is that? He gets a phone call or?
Well, sometimes, a lot of them have portals that you upload, you'll need, depending on if you're self-employed or if you have a job, he'll give you a list of everything you do, you get those together, you upload them in a portal or you bring them in.
Okay,
Some people aren't comfortable with putting them online, that's okay. And then, he does the numbers and he writes up a approval and then we get to work.
sounds good.
And it's really helpful because there's a lot of cash buyers. And the cash buyers are flippers typically. So, and I always educate buyers out because they're afraid to compete with cash buyers, right? So don't let that intimidate you, because if you're approved and you're totally approved except for the house, it's easy. And my team and I, we go out and we find off-market properties all the time.
Okay.
Which is no competition. You know, if you're approved for that price and they're willing to pay it, we go look at it, we call you up and say, hey, Matt, we found something that might work for you. You come in, if they don't, sometimes we get that listing, but other than that, we always give it to our clients first.
All right. I'll put my information down.
Yeah, great, so then you have them sign, and your sheet, I have these for you guys, if you want, I made some copies. You can take them, make copies of them, and I also have I made this for myself, but you can pass that one around. These, everybody can take one. These are sign-in sheets, but there's also a great app called Open Home. So what I do is when I do the open house, I go in, I take a picture of that place, it shows the picture, you take a couple pictures, I always do the front because people remember when they're out looking at open houses, right? They forget. So what this does is they sign in on the iPad or whatever you have, iPad or phone or whatever. And then what's great is if it says I'm working with an agent, they don't follow up with it. But if they're not, you now have a database of everybody. And it automatically sends them a thank you for coming to the open house, blah, blah, blah. So it's a great little app. I believe it's free. It's called Open Home. Keller Williams may have one. I'm still getting adjusted to what they have. So if they do use that, but you also want to invite them, get your code for your app. Say, let me send you this app. You can download it and drop it. Guess what? Every time they look at something, you see it. If they go to it, you see it. Okay. Prospect. Oh, know your team stats, know your market stats, understand personality types, and have something to offer the visitors. So knowing why they're looking is really important. Like you said, you were just kind of on the fence. I should have asked more, oh, do you work in the neighborhood? Are you, right? Do you work here? Do you want to drive far? People don't want to drive far now because of gas, right? So, oh, do you work nearby? Yeah, I live in Torrance now, but I'm looking out here in Downey because my job's here. Whatever it is, right? Now you know, you say, okay, so he works here. You get, it's the fourth thing, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Oh, do you have kids? You know, we got to be careful because of fair housing, but at the same time, you want to have a conversation with them because they know, like, and trust, they do business with those people. Am I over one? No, okay. Is it 11 to 1 because?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of information you can ask, but it's how you ask it to get the information. Sometimes there are people that come in and go, hey, how are you? I'm warm. Mm-hmm. Make yourself at home, look around. How did you hear about it? Those answers will normally get answered. Oh, my agent sent to me. I shut down. You know, great. If your agent has, please, I still need you to sign in. Put who your agent is. So if you have any questions, I can get it back to them. Yes, ma'am.
What do you do if you have somebody that comes in and stiff arms you because they are just paranoid, basically, and they're like, no, I don't have anybody, I'm not working with anybody, I don't want to work with anybody, I'm just looking for myself, like,
Will you sign in?
no.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. It's for safety, for my safety to know who is here. I just thought of that. Sorry, I don't. Yeah, so
I thought of something too.
I just have thought of that. I don't know.
It's good.
You know, if something, let's say something would have happened, okay, maybe the COVID spread, or maybe something was stolen in the house. You now have a record of every person that's been in the house. So
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
multiple reasons why you're saying, I'm allowing you into this
Well, if
home.
they're not gonna do that, then they don't get to see
They
the
don't get to
house.
see it, yeah.
Period. So I would say it's for my safety, it's for the owner's safety, they've asked everybody to see it, and please write it clearly. That's why I like the open home one. And a lot of them are like, well, I don't know a bunch of emails. Great, I'll put that on my thing. I'll, put N, no mail, right? You have codes you can set up with them that says, okay, this fire was kind of a biatch, but it's okay, because they're probably the ones that are gonna buy something. So then what you do is, hopefully, as you're walking through, you go, let's say they sign, and they wrote it like this, go, you know what? I really need you to be clear on your email. Yeah, it has to be legible, either your email or your phone number has to be legible. And if they go, well, I don't know a bunch of emails, go, great, we make suggestions to buyers all the time to make up a house searching email. homesearchtorrents@gmail.com, so that all of the emails will go there if you want us to. I recommend buyers do that all the time. If they start, just make that email that's for your home search. So that's one way to do it. And then sometimes they'll do it right there on the phone, they'll set up a Gmail account. So that's that. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, you just came in. Hi, Alexandra, I'm Lauren. And that's Sue back there. And I don't know if you guys all know everybody, but so prospect, understand personality types. Well, we just talked about one. The blocker, the engineer type. Oh, those are fun. What year was it built?
1947.
Okay, well, have they done any upgrades?
Of course.
Did they have permits?
Of course they do. Yes, they do.
Do you have copies of those permits? I'd like to review them.
No, I don't have copies of them.
So
But
we
we
have-
have second.
Get them.
Get them
Yeah.
for you.
Perfect chance to say, make sure you have a clear email address and I'll forward them to you.
Yes.
Right?
awesome.
Another way to go back to that, what is this email? And then sometimes if you see them writing it, I'm like,
What's that say?
Yeah.
Is that monkey?
MATT.
yeah, right, is that .net? So it's just sometimes go back and then you write it, but that's why I love the open home app. There's probably other ones, but that's the one I use because it was easy for an old lady like me to use. So prospect, okay, understand personality, have something to offer the visitors. So that being, you could have a drawing. You could have a raffle. We did that up, I don't know if you were there. We had a house that was, I think, a little overpriced. So we had a wine drawing. Because one of my lenders' brother owns a winery. So we had 2 bottles of wine, put them out, dropped them in, had a form that they fill out, their name, their address, and or email address or phone number, right? So they had to put that in there. It's a great way to get information, because they're not gonna screw up on writing the email address or the phone number down. So you could do, and you know how you do that? You go to a local business, hey, I'm doing an open house over here. Will you offer a free pizza? Or will you offer some kind of, that I can raffle off? They'll be like, yeah, one in person, right? So I think I like to do that. You know what I did one time at a broker's opening, I gave everybody, it's $1, a lottery ticket. So everybody that came in, that showed up at the door, got a lottery ticket.
Oh,
And then as I handed to them, remember, if you win,
I did.
who?
Buy a house with me.
Yeah. Or if it's a broker.
If you win, I'm in.
If you do a broker's open, it's every age you go. Need to share this, it's a joking one, right? It's like referral fee, something like that. But it's great because I had coffee bars at my broker's opens. I would have a portable coffee bar guy come in. He would make frothy ones, whatever they wanted. People remember that. But it's hard when you're new, so just keep it simple, yeah.
For the raffle, for instance, it's fantastic out there. You have people sign, put their information and put it in, and then now they're in your database. How do you, I guess, encourage it's already represented by an agent and like connected with them?
Oh, well, that's a great question. You could put that on your little sheet. So their name, Matt Smith, their phone number. Are you working with an agent currently? And their name. And just say yes or no. They can still win, right? And they say, well, how do you do the drawing? Well, if you're here at 5 o'clock, we're gonna have the drawing done. We'll have somebody draw it and grab it, put it in, let them pull it out. So-and-so won. You call them and say, hey, Pilar, I want to let you know, you just won the rosé wine, and where can I drop it off? Or if they have an agent, you say, I see your agent's, Sue Hoffman, do you want me to take it to her, or do you want me to drop it off? See what you just did? You're etiquette, you're ethical, but they still want, and then the one, that woman's gonna go, that's a great idea, she's gonna steal your idea, but that's okay. We want people doing good business, right? Okay, have a sign-in sheet, we talked about that. Use command and the KW app. I don't know how command works with the open houses, is there an open house part of that? I don't know yet, so I'll ask about that. I'm sorry, I should know, but I don't. Ask questions. Remember, you're there to get leads and appointments. So, next is pursue, follow up, convert leads. Let's say you got your 10 that you put on your goal list, right? So now, what do? You're gonna put them, you're gonna update them in your database. You're gonna follow up with attendees. Let's say, remember I told you somebody comes through and says, do they have copper pipes? You don't know, you're just holding it for somebody. But you know what? I have to check to see if it's full. I saw a copper pipe under the bathroom sink, but let me find out if it's fully, if the house has been totally re-piped, and maybe electrical is important to them too, right? So you say, make sure your email is legible, and I'll get to the sellers and find out. Okay? So another thing that's gonna start coming up, you guys, is REOs. Bank owned. It's coming, and I'm hoping to be those listing agents. Those listing agents never hold them over. Those are gonna be great ones, but banks don't disclose anything. I've been through it, they don't, they say, you're buying it as is, you figure it out. So you will need to know everything about that house, need to know. I sold the place, the guy moved in, all the prep, we closed, we've done the inspection, all the copper pipes were stolen. Because coppers were stolen. They claimed that in the house was stolen pipes. So he went to turn on the water and there's a comment and it was flowing up, you know, he's like, I don't understand. And another time was we went in there was no stove. When we made the first offer, then we came back during the inspection, there's a stove in there. So we asked the neighbor, what's going on? He goes, oh, he's buying it? I said, yeah, what? He goes, well, there were some agents that put a sign up that said full rent. They took the deposit, the guy bought this new stove in. So you're gonna see a lot of scams. So always just make sure you talk to the listing agent. Make sure you have a phone conversation, no texting, because I'm telling you, that's how fraud's happening. Crazy, huh? We're getting into that again, you guys. Plan an open house. So you guys get to, let's go through and figure out, I did all this, hold on. I'm don't stress everybody. So let's do the greet everyone that comes to the door, engage in conversation and be positive. Do you wanna do one with me? Do you wanna be the agent or do you wanna be you want me to be the agent, right? Sure. Okay. So come in, we're doing this. So I'm running around and make sure all the lights are on. You make sure the toilet seats down, the cover, please.
Okay.
If somebody asks me not to use the restroom, I've had people leave, they've done something and then leave and not flush. So I would say no, if you can. If it's a kid, you do it and then you follow in to make sure it's all cleaned up. I'm just telling you, it happens. People don't care. If they come up with it, let's say she has her dog. Well, then somebody says, oh, will you hold the formula while I go in? That's a step up to rip them off. Right? I mean, you have to think all the time and be aware of your surroundings. Maybe some of them are just like Laura, she's trying it, everything's great. Another thing that happens is you come in with her and you're sitting there engaging in questions, she's running around grabbing things, stealing, putting them in her purse. And then, oh, okay, great. She's like, okay, honey, I see, okay, you see, and they leave. All the time. So, yeah, as a listing agent, when I'm at a listing appointment, I say, you know what, we're gonna be doing the broker's open on blah, blah, blah. You have a calendar, you always see the blank calendar. Fill it in and say, you know, Mr. Matt, we're gonna be doing a broker's open on Thursday from 12 to 2 and open open house on Saturday and Sunday, and my buyer's agents may wanna do it during the week, if it's okay with you, if you're at work, they'll say yes or no, right? We want as many eyeballs to see it as possible, and there's, thinking, well, open houses also houses, yes, they do. And then you cited an example from another agent, something like she, I think it was you that said my husband bought it, you know, so it does happen. And maybe even if it isn't, they're gonna tell a friend about it. Okay, so we'll take on after that.
My name is Mrs. Crowley.
Oh, great. Hi, you're a neighbor?
Yes, I didn't come during the previous showing because I wanted to ask you some more questions about the house.
Okay, great. Yeah, so do you know the house? Do you know the owners?
Yes, where did they go?
They asked me not to disclose them. So let's say the divorce. Right. Okay. And, you know, it's kind of a private matter, but, and it's being Kravitz, you can tell right away that's your question. She didn't have to say Kravitz, I would have known. You know what? If the,
It's someone who doesn't know what we're talking about.
right.
That's
Yeah,
what
you guys are too young.
That's it. Miss Witt, Miss, oh, yeah, Miss Witt knows it, they know the neighbor, yeah.
So, just in case you don't know, that's not. So they've asked not to discuss it, but, go ahead, look around. Have you already seen the whole house? I mean, have you been?
Oh, I've been in here plenty of times, yes. Thank you.
Well, what were your questions? You said you were gonna.
I was just curious to know, how much do they need to move?
The listing price is 1.2.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, if my brother-in-law wanted to come in,
He can discuss it, and you can write an offer, and they can counter it.
he already has something.
Okay, well, same thing. They can come and bring an offer. And if he wants to, if I let agents, sometimes if they want to present.
Is it true that the back part of the house is not permitted?
No, actually, I heard that, so I asked them to pull the permits. I have them here if you want to look at
Oh.
I'm really good with objections.
You get them all, you know.
Well, no, there's another one. Oh, I heard there was a suicide in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
You
God.
wanna know about that?
Yeah.
Or, you know what, they were doing a lot of weird things here this house. Do you know if they were selling drugs?
What do you mean weird? How do you?
Well, they smell really strange.
Doesn't know, and I don't know. I haven't asked about it, and I haven't heard that from anybody. So, but since they're moving, if they were doing weird things, that weird thing's gonna be gone. Right. Another objection. Locked, right?
Well, one night, the firemen were here because of the explosion. You know anything about that?
No, but like I said, if they're moving, it's gonna be a quieter neighborhood. Well, no, that's what happens. Do you see how I had to think about it for a minute, what would I say without saying? Right?
Right.
Nosy neighbors are gonna come,
Yes.
and they're gonna ask you all, oh, why are they moving? I typically say, you know, I don't know that, I'm just holding it open, if it's just an open house. With their,
Investors. Can I play the investor?
yeah, you wanna do it? Okay, come on.
I'll give you a
I'm hoping, there's somebody on, so, but it's recording, I hope you can hear me. Okay, so I'm at my open house, and you just. Hi, how are you? I'm not. Hi, Alexandra, how did you hear about it?
I just talked to my side.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, so, real quick, I'll give you the flyer, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, was built in '64. It's, very well maintained, has permits for everything.
Okay, great.
Go ahead, you know.
You guys have any offers?
We have, this is the first day on the open house, we're cutting off offers on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Nope.
What do you think it's gonna take to sell?
What do you mean, take to sell it?
Like, what is your?
Asking price. We put it on the market to get multiple offers.
Yeah.
If we don't get multiple offers, then I'll have that discussion with them.
No, it should be by.
Tuesday. At 6 p.m. Yeah. Are you an investor?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these guys, I did have a conversation with them about cash buyers, you know, like as long as they bring the price they have in their minds, they know that we priced it to get multiple offers.
So what I need to put in is what get it done.
No, I can't help you with that unless you want me to represent you, I would say, I'll give you the
You
comp
should
sheet.
definitely represent me as long as I get the skill.
Well, I give you the prompts, you bring me what you want me to write up, which we just did with another client of mine. She had to change some of the terms, you know, she may need to rent back, if you're a quick close, she may need to rent back for you. Okay, well, let me finish here, we'll write up the offer when I get back to the office, I'll call you later.
I'm actually gonna need to, but like, if she's gonna get it done, let's just do it.
Right, that happens a lot, you'll have a lot of investors that are licensed.
Yeah.
So you say, the other thing you could say is, are you flipping it or are you wholesale? Okay, so you're gonna close, you're gonna take it to close.
The next
You're
is
gonna do it
cash.
in cash, and this is
Okay.
great.
I just wanna get it, I just don't wanna compete with other people. Do you know
Well,
what
I can talk to her about it, but she asked me to wait, but
Yeah.
I always tell people, bring the offers anytime.
I mean, if you wanna write the offer up right now.
We can't do it right now.
Once it's done,
Yeah.
once the open house is
Yeah.
done. let's
Meet
write
me at the
offer.
office, and
Yeah.
we'll take care of it,
Then
okay?
I could-
Great, bring me all your proof of funds and, any other deals you've done, I think that helps to sell it
Other
and close,
deals.
yeah, that you actually close on the
Okay,
deals.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah, so that's it, great, yeah, but she probably.
Oh, you're so pushy.
Okay, they're like the one right off for now, and all I can say, you always accept the offers, it's our job to take them. But you go to the seller and say, I have an offer in hand, it's cash, it's asking, it's up to them, not you. But you want it because you're now representing both sides, right? And you have to say that, go, look, they've asked me to write the offer, I wrote it up, do you wanna wait till Tuesday? And if she says, then I don't wanna write the offer, which she might. She might not wanna wait till Tuesday, she wants it now, they want them now. Pilar's is, for instance, he has not turned in his EMD yet, which is okay, it's 3 days, which is tomorrow, but he's got an inspection at 2 o'clock tomorrow after. So I emailed him today and says, you better have that wired, ready to go, and have that in escrow on Friday, or we're putting it on the market on Monday. I'm gonna put it on the market. But, you know, yeah, but she knows, I said, look, the seller's an agent.
What's EMD?
Oh, I'm sorry, earnest money deposit. So typically it's 3 days. A lot of times investors want to wait till after they do the, because they'll write an offer sight unseen. Which is, and then they come back and go, oh, we want to negotiate price. It's not happening, not on this house, because we know we've already done a pre-inspection. That's another thing. You always get a pre-inspection if you can when you have a listing. And I'll explain that if I do those for you, but, so you ask the visitors, here's some examples that they gave me to. Okay.
We always want an EMD, always,
So
right?
in the contract, you're gonna see, there's a contract last Saturday, I recommend going to it. I mean, Steve is
Steve.
amazing.
It's this Saturday.
Yeah, he's great. We used to play a Jeopardy game, but we can't do it anymore because the contract changed. But he did the same idea the other day. So what you wanna do is a contract to say, I'm offering $1 million. My earnest money is typically 3% of the contract or less. Sometimes they'll do 10,000 because that's the, what's that called? Court, small claims court, amount is max is 10,000. If it's over $1 million, I make them put the 3%. I want to know that they're good for it. So this guy did 24,000, I think. And what it does is, it shows their earnest money deposit is just that, it's my earnest intent to buy this property. The fact that he's waiting till the 3rd day, okay, that's okay, he has 7 days to remove the physical inspection, which I've already given him the inspection, I sent him the pictures. He's got they have these guys that go through and they do it, what they do is a dollar amount of what they think it's gonna cost to do a flip. And then we go through it. So earnest money deposits, you always want an earnest money deposit. So you'll take the purchase price is $1 million minus 24,000. If it's cash, that's it. If there's a loan amount, and then at the bottom we'll say how much they have to bring in at close. And then there's sometimes above that there's some closing fees. Okay. So, I guess we're.
Also, sorry, first, they always ask, oh, so why are they leaving?
Well, did you hear my?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to disclose that
Right.
information. But like, what's gonna get the job done? Like, Russ, I just told you,
Yeah, so especially if you're doing somebody else's open house,
Yeah.
it's great, you should say, I don't know, I'm just holding it open. There's your answer. Right? I'm holding this open for an agent in my office, or I'm holding it for an agent. I didn't ask that, I can find out.
Yeah.
But, it's up to your fit.
Sometimes you can stand them up a little bit and say like, you know, you are asking me some really unethical stuff right now. I'm happy to do business with you, but let's just keep it on the level.
Right,
And they will either snap to or they'll walk, and either way,
Either way,
it's better, you
it's
know?
better. So I just basically say, you know, I'm not allowed to say that. If they say it's okay, because they want, you know, the problem is if they know it's a divorce or they know it's a death, they go, oh, we're gonna take advantage of it. That's why I don't tell anybody. Like I have a trifecta.
Yeah,
What if someone killed themselves with that?
Okay, so the way the rule works, sorry, I'm trying to get, yeah, the way the rule works. No, the way the rule works, the best way I can put it in layman language is if it was 5 o'clock, you know, on the news, it's all over the place. It would be forever has to be disclosed. If it's natural causes, it's only for 3 years.
I went into a house where there was a murder, and it's in Irvine, safest city, right? And he just said there was a death. And then my client said, well, how did the person die? And I just figured, oh, he said it's death, I'm sure it's just natural causes. It wasn't, it was like in the news, I read the whole thing, I went in the house and I still have memories of it.
I'm telling you,
It was so horrible, the murder, and like I'm thinking to myself, how did this person, this realtor did not disclose that to you guys?
So you have to remember though, maybe he was a new agent and didn't ask all those questions. So if you're taking a listing or you see one in the notes, they have to disclose it in the notes, death on property.
Yeah.
When you call, hi, this is Beth from Keller Williams. Hey, Lauren, I was wondering, it says death on the property. Can I get details? I'll be like, oh, God. But you know.
You have to ask.
You have to ask, okay? I always say ask. If you see anything in those notes that makes you wonder, ask. Well, you said there's an addition. Does it have 2? Because this will help the loan. Does it have 2 meters or 1? If it's got an ADU and it only has 1 meter, it's a single family home for a loan. They can't get the rental income from that on the loan. So all of
On
those.
our one, on our.
Well, that's changed because our state has decided everything is not R1 anymore. Did you know that? So if I have a single family home, which our family has 1, 2, 3, whatever, they could technically build, split it in half and build 2 units on that and 1 on this one. So we are no longer considered a single family neighborhood. On title, it says single family neighborhood, but an investor and buyers know they can add to it.
Because of SB9?
Yes, it's killing us. It's killing us.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's gonna kill our communities, I'm telling you, because investors will come in, see, they say you have to live for 3 years, how are they gonna know? Who's gonna hold them to it? Come on, think about it. You have a house, you split the lot, and the minimum lot size is 1,200. So if you're 1,000 square feet, you're gonna 1,250 on one, whatever, you can split it. The other thing about it is there has to be, they don't have to have parking. We're gonna look like San Francisco. So,
Do you know how much it costs just off the top of your head, or anybody know, to get a second meter? Is it varied or?
I don't know, I have a friend who's at the gas company, so he always says. But, like the other thing is, in some areas you have to have earthquake shut-off valve. So, I'm going on open houses, but let me tell you, there's no.
This is
Yeah.
fine though.
Yeah, I guess, but because if you have somebody coming in that knows this stuff, right, and they says, well, it doesn't have earthquake valves, so they're deducting in their mind things that they're gonna have to do. That's gonna cost, so now the price may be $1 million, but they're like, no, we're gonna go off $50,000 because these kids are this and this. We're not in that market yet, but it's coming. So I need you to be prepared. So you ask agent, hey, do you know, so LA City property, San Pedro, Harbor City, Wilmington, is LA City, I think. So all of them need to have earthquake shelter homes. Now an investor will buy it without it. That's called the retrofit stuff on on the thing. 9A is a building inspection report from the LA City. So 9A gives you the parameters of the property. I try and order it up front. A lot of escrow companies wait till it goes into escrow, but it's taken 3-4 weeks to get it. If you've got a 2-week escrow, you're better off as a listing agent. You go in and you say, I need your tax, your what do you call it? Tax document, you know, your property tax document. You want that? Leave me a key, an extra key, because you're going in that you're gonna get that listing. And I want everybody who's on title, who's the signers, to be at the meeting. The reason why is maybe that wife's meeting with you, she wants to sell it, and her husband's like, you're crazy, it's happening. So I would say, is everybody that's involved with the, it says here, because you got title, always look, who owns that property? Because the other thing is, I don't want Facebook to look, because what if they come, you're now doing something that's open house, and they come into your property on the open house, you better be prepared that they're gonna ask you some tough questions. Sellers go incognito, or they have the cameras. So I don't know if you were here when I said that, but always know cameras are going. So watch what you say, how you say it. Even if it's,
Yes.
oh, did somebody die here? And you know that there's probably a camera, the family members, yes, it was a recent death. The families asked us to sell it. That's all you can say. Is it probate? You have to disclose, yes, it's probate. No, it's in a trust, either way. Because you have it on the NLX if it's a trust or not probate. Well, if it's a probate, they'll say, is it a court confirmation? Which means limited, or is it, once it's accepted, that it closes? So you need to know that. So if you see that when you're doing an open house, you ask the listing agent, is it court confirmation over bid or just court confirmation? Because what happens on an overbid is you've made an offer. You're the agent, your buyers are making an offer, we accept it, we go to court, judge looks at it, goes, is there anybody in this room that wants to buy this property? They say the address. Investor comes in and goes, so they have to go over 10,000 over, and they have to have that amount over with them that day or something, or some kind of thing that they have to have a 5% of the purchase price with them. So let's say you're at 600,000, he goes at 10,000, he goes at 610, you're like, oh my God, I'm approved at that. They were all excited, they were buying furniture, they were doing all this stuff. So court confirmation is really important over bid. Court confirmation over bid is really important to know before you do it.
And it will say that in the.
It'll say, it should. Remember, not everybody agents are trained as well as you guys. So I always call and ask, is it court confirmation over bid? They go, it doesn't say that. I'm just confirming because I've had it show up that it wasn't, you know, just be polite, because there's agents that won't. So I guess they always like us to go over these. We're kind of early. Number of conversation, 10 contacts, 10 handwritten notes. Do you know a really good thing to do after an open house? If you really mess with somebody and they don't have an agent, you sit down and write a note, because hopefully you've gotten their address. Or I live over on Garnett, right, Garnett Street, and I'm a renter and I wanna move, I wanna buy something before the interest rates get higher, great. Let me get your address, and I'll say, well, you don't need my address, but you know what, I like to keep the database in case something comes up, I have events, I wanna mail you invites, or, you just make up something, like I used to keep all my database, I downloaded all of my Facebook friends, dropped them into a calendar of all their birthdays. And my assistant used to highlight, I would highlight the ones that I knew, people that I knew, and then she would PM them and say, hey, we're updating, as me, hey, we're updating our database, I need your mailing address. And then they would get a birthday card from me, or another thing to do, that we're off open houses now. Another thing to do is on their Facebook page, let's say his graduation season's coming in.
My daughter graduates in 2 weeks.
See, my daughter's graduating from San Francisco State University.
Oh, my daughter's University of San Francisco.
Oh, and you know where my daughter's going next?
Oh, where?
You're for masters.
Oh, that's wonderful.
No.
Why you cry?
Because
together, girl.
it's like,
Your baby.
yeah. But it's good.
Yes.
It's good, right? She's already one. You did good, Mom. I'm like, "No." Just gives me, she got accepted to St. Andrews.
That's
And
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, it is, but I think she's gonna end up staying there, because her boyfriend lives in England.
Oh, okay, okay.
Girl, just
gives you
another
another
place
place
to
to
go.
go.
Yeah. Wow. Did you get one of these?
Yeah.
Or did you get one soon?
No, I don't think so.
So. Here's some sample questions they gave me. What brought you here today? Well, we kind of said that. Did you see signs? I always like to know exactly what my conversation is gonna be. So I would say, hi Matt, nice to meet you. Make yourself at home, but really quick. No, it would be, you come in. I can do it like that at the open house, you know, I just got this thing. Hey, I just wondered if you saw the signs or if you saw it online. A lot of them will say they saw it online. Oh, which one are you using? Zillow or, oh, my agent site. Because you'll get to it eventually. What's your agent saying? They go, I don't know.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, you know it's not a solid relationship. Go ahead and sign in because I'll let your agent know, because sometimes I get properties off market. We do here, you're not lying. So like I have one right now, there's a trifecta. It's a crazy sister, a probate, and it's in foreclosure.
Wow.
So I've got to get it sold right away. We haven't even seen it yet. She wants me to price it. I go, I can't price it, so I see it because I know the condition.
Wait for court papers.
And she can't sign anything until the court papers, they've been approved as, what do you call them, executors or whatever. There's two of them, so they both have signed and agreed, and it's gonna be one of those.
We're so excited.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you some great places to get relationships as your service providers. My appraiser gave me 5 listings last year. He had a family, they were from out of town. He didn't want to, they asked, oh, do you know a great agent? And he called me and said, I'm referring these people to you. It was Wilmington, not an area I knew. They all spoke Spanish, but PR spoke Spanish. It was ideal. It was tough because you have families, like they put a shed and had families living back there. I mean, it was not something I was used to, but I had a team of people that made it okay. She would do all my translating. I'm like, okay, negotiate this, say this, do that, you know, and she just had to do it all. So your service providers.
So I kind
Yeah, so she knew, but I still took it. I mean, I didn't have to give them any of them. I did, though. I gave each mentee one of the properties. But I went out to every call, everything, because I wanted to make sure that they were learning the dialogue that you have with a person, especially a tenant. There's a AB 1482, you have to make sure that they fall into all of the stuff or not. And one of them tried to strong arm my sellers, and we ended up winning, but they ended up walking away with $10,000. They lied through their teeth with a lawyer and asked for $75,000. And we said, absolutely not. So we gave them 10, got them out. Buyers were so patient. Because you gotta remember, there's buyers in escrow, and they've accepted everything's done, all content. There's time periods. They have a lock. So we have to pay to get their lock extended. So a lot of things can happen, but for open houses, your dialogues are gonna be, you're gonna have an engineer, you're gonna have a heavy housewife coming through, and the kids are gonna be grabbing everything, right? So let's say that happens, you're the agent, and I come in and my kids are running all over the place, and I'm trying to have a conversation with you. You know, what do you think a solution to that be? Would you, if you know it's a family neighborhood, would you please post things and say, please keep your kids? I would.
Yeah, and I have just a thought or an idea, could we bring like,
Toys, yes, candy, all kinds of things. I used to have, when it was a family neighborhood, I would have a basket full of toys. Because I had little ones. So I just, the ones that they're not using anymore, go to a secondhand store, get a bunch of them, sanitize them, and put a basket, go here. Here, Johnny, here's Sarah, right? Totally. And then if there's cookies out, you always make sure you say to the parents, can they have a cookie? You don't assume. Allergies.
Not 10.
Yeah, and I typically will keep the, if there's an upper counter, I keep everything up on the upper shelf in the kitchen if I can, because kids and dogs. So let's say somebody comes up with a dog, they're walking, they're ready, they want to come in, and then they ask you to hold the dog. And you're by yourself. You know, how would we, I mean, let's figure out a nice way.
Can you tie the dog up outside?
But then let's say they go crazy and they start pulling the sprinkler off or something, so.
Is there where you guys said we would come back a little bit later without your dog?
Yeah, we live down the street, let us do that, let me go put Violet away, and, we'll come back, can you stay a little bit longer?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, see, it's a negotiation thing,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do that for you, but if you're not here, I can stay till 4:30, can you come back by then? Okay, so you set the boundaries, not him,
Yeah.
okay? Because they would say, oh, well, she said she'd wait,
Yeah,
we'll just wait till 5 or 6.
no.
Well,
And
no.
then do you ask for like their contact info just to see if they're?
You can say, do you mind leaving your number, or here's mine, I'll text you my number, and you text me when you're heading over. So I don't lock up and turn off all the lights. Okay?
Well, my father's gonna live here with me, he needs to see property.
Well, you know what? Once
I hear people are crazy about their dogs.
you're in escrow, once you're, I know, that's me too. Once you're in escrow,
Me a pit bull.
once you're in escrow, you wanna bring Fido by. And you remove all the content, you know, we'll let you do it.
Unless it's a service dog, then you're,
Right,
you know,
well, and half the people say their service dogs are not.
and you can't ask.
Right.
But they can hold them, right?
You can-
Yeah, that's the other thing, if they're
Hold
small,
them.
I say, do you mind carrying it?
You could also just be like, I actually have 2 or 3 people to walk in, you can hold your dog or whatever.
Carry off the ground, but it's a big dog, some of those neighbors have really big dogs, I don't wanna fit them out.
What if they're like, it doesn't
Just
shed?
the owner doesn't want the dog in their house, that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The owner has out, but
Yes.
it's a doodle, they don't shed.
Oh,
You know,
Labradoodle.
I represent the seller, and the seller has to sell, so that way I'll next to the property, because it's a pet food property. That's another way to do it. What else? So how did you hear about it? Go ahead.
When you look for the open house.
Okay.
Calls.
Oh, so another thing you can do is circle calls.
Yeah.
Circle prospecting. That's a great one, thank you. So I use a thing called Slide Broadcast. Have you heard of it? Slidebroadcast.com. You pay for minutes. Okay, you pay for calls, basically. So $400 is 10,000 numbers. I think 250 is like that, something like that. Okay, so you pay the minutes. I use this thing all the time for my campaign. I have one for this. So I basically, let's say that they're having one and my mother-in-law's on Coda. Her house was the Buffy house. So that's part of my marketing, right? Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I would call, I record on my, you know, that recording thing on your app. Hi, this is Lauren from the Cotton Crew at Keller Williams. We are so excited by our new listing. We're hoping that you can buy it. It's at 1313 Coda. Do you know that this house was Buffy's the Vampire Slayer's house? You gotta come see the inside. Whatever, you find something about that house and you invite them. Say, okay, it's at 1350 Coda. We're inviting all the neighbors early. Here's part of that. You see, half the time it only works if it's a cell phone, because what a slide broadcast does is it goes to their voicemail without ringing. That's what's it. So you'll get a bunch of callbacks because they don't listen to the message. So I always use my Google voice number for that, because I don't want them calling my phone the whole time.
and how do you spell it? Slide broadcast?
Slide broadcast,
SLY?
SYSLY broadcast.com.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So it's called circle prospecting. You basically take the house, you go right around. Okay, maybe 20 houses, whatever. You just, hey, this is Brooke. I'm in Keller Williams. I'm holding an open house over 1313 code, oh my God, people say it's haunted, whatever, right, because they do. I swear to God, she's got these dolls on this bed, I used to sit in the room across the way, it's my other one's, right? And this doll, eyes were moved. And I go, John, did you see that? He goes, don't look at the dolls, they're freaky. I mean,
Don't look, just don't look.
yeah, just don't look. Because the glass, the old antique dolls. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel's been in that house, Xander's been in that house. There's people that go, so she's 94, eventually we will be in that market. She's not anything. And so passes, hopefully for not for 10 years yet, you know, but, so ask the person when you take the listing or the agent that you're asking to hold, what's a really unique feature about this house? What's their favorite part of the house? Didn't ask them. You're gonna find a lot of agents don't look like we do. I'm just,
It's really fun to have something like quirky about.
yeah, about a house,
About
like,
the house, and
and then in the slide broadcast, you've got to come see the murder house, or whatever, right? You've got to come see this house, they just remodeled the kitchen, right? Or this yard is stifled, or, you know what, this is a fixer that you can come put your touches, whatever it is. Figure out a story and make that part of your slide broadcast. Historical prospecting. But you can do that anytime. You can do a little video story for Facebook, make that part of your advertising. That's a whole nother.
Give us your script though.
Sorry, honey?
Do you have like a script though?
For what?
For a circle,
Come see me, I'll give you something. It depends on the house.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. Because if you're gonna tell a bunch of people about a house, well, if it's a cookie cutter house, right, some of the neighborhoods, like where I grew up in our place, we all have every fourth house is the same house. So I'm like, what would be unique about it? So I have to say, let's say it's the house I grew up in. And I went through it when after my parents died, I went through a ball like a baby, oh my God! But because they changed it, did things. So I would say, let me think, where do I say? Because all the houses are the same, basically, you know, every fourth house. So it's like they,
Lawrence, there's little areas that are super trapped housing.
yeah, well, there was a lot of them back in the 50s, that's what they did, because especially in the Riviera, because they were gonna, do you have a story of the Hollywood Riviera? This is a great story, we have a little bit of time, right, till 1? Unless you guys wanna go, but the story is, let me make sure there's nothing else I'm supposed to do, sorry, guys. Do not call, oh, yeah. Who said do not call us? Until they tell me. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. Role play for 20 minutes, prepare your conversation list. So that's something when you're following up. You've got notes, let's say, Alice, we were talking about, somebody came through and it was an investor had a question about, is it copper pipes or is it? You wrote that down, now you've got that on that list to call them back and say, you know what, I did find out. And then they'll say, can you email it to me? Because a lot of them like it writing. And just be very generic. Yes, per seller, the plumbing was entirely upgraded to copper or flex, whatever it is, okay? So I always say per seller or per listing agent, okay? Don't hold yourself to it. Lead generation conversations for, this is 40 minutes. No, wait, what's that one saying? Prepare the next session, actually, oh, that's gonna be social media, the next one. So what was I talking about? I just wanna make sure I got through there because I'll get in trouble. Oh, Riviera. So I moved there when I was 13. My mom was a single mom. We grew up on the avenues of Redondo Beach. And the Hollywood Riviera was just, I always thought it was just kind of like part of Palos Verdes, right? But it says Redondo on the side and Torrance on the side. Two things about it. So back in the, when was the Great Depression? 20s, 30s? 1930 or so. And then before that was Prohibition, right? They had the Prohibition and all that stuff. So they built originally, Hollywood's out here, all the studios are out in Hollywood. Hollywood Riviera, Palos Verdes Boulevard was going to be the freeway to Holly Rivera, and they built, I think it was 7 of them, these Spanish style, beautiful, they had small little balconies, which was, every time I listen, I'm like, what's this balcony? They go, well, it was prohibition. You'd stand on the balcony down in Haggerty's, which was a pier off of that point that comes out at Palos Verdes. The ship would come in, they do the little lantern, they flush, and they get down in the buggies and go get their wine, their booze. That was how they did it. Well, a lot of those houses have hidden compartments. You push on the bookshelf and it goes as far as this building is deep. But it looks like a bookshelf.
Yeah, my parents almost.
Yeah.
They almost bought a house in PV when I was a little kid, and it had like the bookshelf that opened up into a little wine
Yes.
room with like table for 2 and a little window and all this.
But that was
stuff.
back in the day, it was just an empty room. So it was a booze.
Yeah.
So, and that's why the balconies were only this big. I'm like, no, a balcony I could sit on. No. So anyway, that was that. So they were building those for the celebrities. So there was some of those old time ones like Rosemary, you know, those ages, really old celebrities that lived up there. Well, then the Great Depression hit and they didn't build the freeway. So you have these 7 beautiful Spanish style homes and nobody coming, nobody moving out there. So that was in the 20s, 30s. And then 1950, a developer came in and put in those tract houses that I'm talking about and started adding to it. And so when we moved out to Arbor, and then there's another part too, Via Calusa comes out. One side is 90505 Torrance, and the other side is 90277. Well, I thought that was Redondo Beach. It's actually City of Torrance. What happened was when they built that, the lower, so 3 digits are original Riviera. So 346 Calinair, 646 Calinamor, whatever it is. Those are the original Hollywood Riviera. Torrance Riviera came later when they started building the 50s houses. And the reason why that was 90277 and that's 90505 was, let me think the story. The story is it was so far away from the Torrance mailbox or post office that the original Redondo Beach one, they just said, let's just call it Torrance Piano or Redondo Piano. So the problem is when you get people that want to buy up there, you better tell them these are Torrance schools. Because if they're buying for Redondo schools, it's not Redondo schools.
Which is different.
It's totally different. So no, when you go in and look on title, let's say 5418 Cali de Arles that I live in, it says Torrance, so you're cool. But on the other side, if you came on 808 Cali de Arles, it says Redondo Beach, but if you pull up the title, it'll say TOR1. Right? So it's Torrance. The problem is, I think technically we should be putting, when you're doing it on the MLS, as city as Torrance. Right? But when I did that, the agents went crazy and yelled at me and screamed at me, no, it's Redondo Beach. I go, so what you do is you put it as Redondo Beach, but in your notes, you put Torrance schools. Just make sure, say Torrance schools, and then the buyer can ask you why. You know, and that's another conversation. I try and, my typical descriptions on MLSs are pretty funny, right? I mean, I do, I got one on Christmas Eve, and I go, OMG, Santa dropped that house you wanted, the perfect view, and everybody's like going crazy. They're like, what? Because it had no wires in front of it. So take the season that you're listing it. And use that if you can. Find the story. Why did the seller sell? Or why did they buy that house? You want to emphasize that because other buyers are probably just going to buy it for that reason. So most of the time it's schools, you know, that kind of thing. So, but conversations, are you looking in this neighborhood specifically, or is it price? Or if they were just driving by, they don't know. And now you may have convinced them. I walked into a house and bought it at an open house. Because I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't even know this was here. It looked like a small house and it went really deep. And then it had this really cool fig tree in the back of it and a fountain. And I called Joe, I'm like, we're buying this house in Emily. And he's like, okay. So we did, right? So that happens. Because they've just been driving by that house for years, never thought about it. And now they walk in and it's everything they want. So that's one thing. Are you looking for a home in this neighborhood? In this neighborhood, or price range? So it's, are you specifically for this neighborhood, or is it price range? I kind of talked about that, right, where you figure out what they're looking for. Do you need 3 guys, you know, they say, oh, then they'll say, I have 3 kids. So now, you know, you're asking them open-ended questions so that you get the answers, right? So now it's like, oh, well, we have 3 kids, we'd like to have 4 bedrooms, because 2 of them are twins and they can share the room. And I need an office. Oh, do you work from home? Yes. Oh, well, I work for Tesla, but they let us work. You're getting information. So always ask open-ended questions, okay? Have you been looking at other houses? So have you been out doing open houses today? So I'm working on an app, by the way, that will change real estate forever. I'm gonna call one of the people here and I'll give you guys a little glimpse of it. So you know how every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we get a list of brokers opens. How hard is that to map out and everything? It's a pain in the butt. You're like, well, like, I don't know if I'm gonna do. So what I'm creating is you get your list of everything that's on brokers or open houses, and you go through and you say, I've seen that, see what maps, and now you have what's left. It's going to map it out from wherever you are, and it's going to give you how long it'll take, so you know it's 12 to 2, and you put it, it has the time, so it knows how to schedule you. So you're going from here, then you're gonna go to this one, 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 and you come back, and now you've been able to see 10 in 2 hours versus 3, because you've been driving all over, only looking at certain ones. And the reason why I'm doing that is time. We need to see everything that's on the market right now. It's crucial, because the more you see, I promise you, the buyers come. It's so weird. It's like you walk into this house like stretching, and then somebody will call and go, hey, I'm looking for a house in the Riviera that's got a view, that's up on the bridle trail and has those beautiful weeping willows. You're like, I just saw one. Do you want to meet me up there? You know, that kind of thing. It's just what happens. Another thing to do is when you're out looking at brokers, they used to make me come back and tell them about the house. I'm like, what? You're cruel. So what I did was, everybody does it different, but this is what I did. I would go in and I think of one thing about that house. And I still have 3 of them I can remember from Pacific Beach 24 years ago. One had green carpet. It was 1422 Law Street, white outside, ugly, kind of looks like boxy, but I walked in and had bright green carpet and fleas.
Oh, no.
So I walked through and I started, but I didn't know it, right? So I'm walking through and I go through and I'm looking, but I came back and I had to describe the house. I'm like, I gotta go change, you know, because I was like, fleas everywhere, but I was looking at the house. So another time I went in and they just, they had, oh my God, it was a broker's open, and you're supposed to, what we did in La Jolla is, Pacific Beach, is if the owners are there, you keep the porch light on. So you know somebody's there. I think we should make that a tradition here. Nobody will do it, but that's what I did. So the porch light is always on and the broker's open. That means the owners are there, just for me. You'll know, okay? Changes your whole way. Well, this was a rental, so upstairs, we went upstairs. I went down first. And I came down, there was a bunch of women behind me, and we come around the corner, and this guy's getting out of the shower. Oh, no way. And I went, I don't need my coffee in for, you know, it was like, he said, hey, how you doing? It was like a dominoes thing, we just like falling up the stairs.
Oh my
So I'm telling you, stuff happens. And it was just like, hi, good morning. I'm right up the stairs. You know, I don't even remember the house, just put it that way. But just start going and you know, if you have to come back, Brooke, I know this is a great note taker. She might come back and write down 1424, you know, 35, 36 Garnett, dead grass, something that she'll always remember that house. So now, she now knows, okay, it's a 3.2, it's average, could use some upgrading, it's livable now, those kind of things. Like we looked at one for her over in Marble Estates, great house. Most people wouldn't like it because it's like the 60s, but it had the paneling, it had the big open kitchen. Remember those, back in those days, we had those big family rooms and then we'd have the living room and then you'd even have an eating kitchen and a dining room. I'm like, whoa, it's got all of it.
Yeah.
But that's how we grew up. Now it's, everything's just,
Open.
yeah. Yeah, I like the closing room because I can put the kids back there and say, see ya. So that's it. I mean, Be prepared, the next one, I don't know what it is, but capture leads with social media. I don't know that, that's why I didn't teach that. I mean, one thing you can do, if you're afraid to make calls and stuff, because I know you and I have practiced making calls, sit on your social media. Go to each person and messenger, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? So you've got all of these open. Eventually somebody's gonna respond. Say, hey, how are you? Or who are you? Or, you know, whatever. And what's up? And then you say, oh, just checking in. Eventually the next one's gonna go, well, what are you doing? I'm working. Oh, where do you work? Real estate. Oh, my mom's looking. Promise you it would work. Just open up your Instagram messengers or your Facebook or whatever else there is. I mean, there's so much now, like a Telegram, like a this. So it's just a thought, especially for millennials. They don't want to get out and meet people. They just want to sit on their computer. That's a great way to do it. And then if it's somewhere you don't know, it's okay. We have a great referral system. Like right now, I got a guy, he said, I need help finding something out of state. I said, I jumped at it. His wife's looking at San Diego and he's looking in Arizona, sounds like a divorce. I said, yeah, I have to sell you. He says, no, we're renting together. And I said, okay, great. And she wants to buy San Diego, great. So I'll find an agent down there that I know. I'm from there, that's where I got my license, so I still have connections. I could do it because I go down to Carlsbad all the time. I just gotta figure out what the price range is to make it worth it. Your time is valuable. So pick the open houses that are valuable to you too. You know, when you do it, make sure you know the neighborhood, make sure you do your homework. Ask about, you know, if it says death on property, ask. It could be natural causes. People will ask and you have to tell them. That's one thing you do have to tell them. For 3 years, if it's natural. If it's, I call it made the news. Like I had a listing. We sat down with the guy, he called and goes, I need to sell my place. I said, great. He said, I had a house in a little apartment, you can over on Community Island or down to, all right, Lance, tell us what, well, there's tenants in there, it's a Mormon family that have 4 kids and a husband. And I said, oh, that's weird, the husband without, you know, Mormons together. She goes, she just shot herself last week in the closet. I said, what? So he tells me the story. The husband was working back here up front. She was back in the bedroom. She went into the closet, heard her kids fighting. She came in and said, sit down, put them all in the poor thing, went back in the closet, showed herself in the closet. So every time I walked in that closet, I'm like, yeah, that's the, you know, it was weird. And it was so sad because the children were amazing, beautiful children. And the littlest one goes, my mommy died. We have to move. And I'm like, and that was the hardest house to sell because it was a great place, but because of the death. And you know, normally Asians don't buy because if there's a death or a murder on the property, they don't. Asians bought it because it was such a scream. I had to drop the price. It was also in foreclosure. It's not a trifecta. I get the trifectas. So, but it happens. And so I helped Todd move. We found him another place and he rented. And the first weekend, they always had clothes everywhere, just all over. I mean, this house was always a mess because there's 4 kids. I came over to visit him at the new place. All the laundry's all over the floor. I'm like, dude, you need a wife, you know, or something. So, but.
So that you married him? No, I'm kidding.
No. Yeah, so you don't know if somebody has mental illness, is all I'm saying. Is so.
That's true.
We have to go in with empathy and when somebody passes away, like on some of these, I always start the letters, like when I know there's been a death, sorry, my condolences about the loss of your family member. You know, you always want to go and start with condolences. You've got to come in with empathy, or they're not gonna like you. Like the one I'm working on that I told you up on the hill, she was so upset, remember that day? I had her on speaker, she can tell she's anxious. And she's like, somebody came to the door. I said, okay. And she goes, and said, did somebody die here? Instead of that, graciously, I go, look, our team doesn't work like that. I told you the minute I spoke to you, I'm sorry for your loss. Immediately, she goes, I know. She goes, but why are people doing that? I said, because they don't care. It's all about the money. They want to get you when you're down. So they know somebody died. They know it's in default. So they're gonna come in and offer them $1 million where it's worth 2.8, that's just what they do. So. Another thing you always talk about when you're sitting with Lucy is Keller has two great things. One, Sukasa, where they fix it up. They give you 75% of the sale of the house. Have you heard about that? So let's say the value is 1 million. They'll give you 750,000, buy it from you for that. So you got your money now, you can go buy. And then after they sell it, they take their fee and then give you the difference. So they do get their money back. Another way is like a bridge loan or something. I don't know how that one works, but you know.
So what happens is, we're talking about this, the forward program, which is what she's saying, they'll pay 75% of the appraised value, so that your seller can now be a cash buyer and buy it quickly. And then the other
Which
one.
works great, by the way, guys, if somebody's moving out of state, because the houses are less.
Yeah.
So just FYI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not so much here, but
Right, yeah.
it'll be next day. And then the other one is where it's concierge, KW concierge, and so they will come out and they'll some designer and a general contractor and go through the property with the owner and figure out what they can do to make it sell at a higher value. And then they sign
The seller
signs
yeah.
a contract with them, and then when the close of escrow comes, then they deduct their fee from there.
And the charges that it costs, so if it's 35,000, they take that and a fee.
Right.
But it's great, the sellers now probably made more money,
Right.
but they're living under construction and stuff like that, so it's good on a vacant home. I think it's hard on somebody living there, just my take. So any other questions or concerns or anything you would change that I did? I probably talked too much, but.
Hey, really quick, Mrs. Kravitz was just discussing the fact that there was a meth lab at that house that she knew of.
Okay.
And so I think, what is the rule on disclosing that?
Yeah,
Because
so I
there's that,
have, so,
and also now the cannabis stuff too, I think. You have
yeah,
to-
so that's a great question, and basically, you would have to find out if that was true. And there's a meth remediation company. So let's say the people that lived there they were renters and they found out that there was a meth lab, right? Well, that stuff gets into the walls. So your buyer for that is probably Alice's investor. Because they know how to do that. The other thing is you go in and you Google, I don't have one, but you get a remediator for those. Okay, and you find out, or sometimes insurance will cover it. So you ask their homeowner's insurance, you say, your homeowner's insurance may cover that if you have rental insurance.
But do you have to disclose
Yes.
any of that
Yes.
to a prospective?
Yes.
At a.
Yes. Yes.
No, at an open house, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
if you know it.
Like, yeah, okay.
So let's say you don't know it, and now you say, Mrs. Kravitz comes through, said something blew up. Oh, okay, I did not know that, but now another person comes through and you say, well, a neighbor down, because they'll find out. They will find out, the minute that thing closes and you didn't tell them. A neighbor comes over and goes, oh, so this is the house where that lady this morning, it's a message, you do? They're gonna know.
Because Mrs. Kravitz is coming.
Right, so what you wanna do is say, you know what, a neighbor came through and told me that there might have been a meth lab, I'm gonna look into it further. So, don't go near the garage, that's what I would do. If you want. Well, just because I don't know where the chemicals go.
No, I got it, no.
Yeah, but, so I don't know if that's true, we're gonna have to find that out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I was at that.
Sign it. Everybody sign in?
Yeah, thanks. Did everybody sign in?
Yeah.
Oh, Max, did you sign?
All
right, thank you. Anybody, anytime I'm available for questions? My office is up there by the coffee.
You can usually hear us.
Yeah, we're the one.
Thank you. That was great.
Yeah. I saw your vision.
Are you
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was funny, so we said that, where's Marie? And then there's like a Murphy and I'm like, oh, that's so funny. Everybody's gonna be talking about it, right? I was so. Thank you. Somebody's phone is here. Uh-oh.
I'm sure they'll come right back. Part of our bodies these days.
Yeah, no, this is great, thank you, are you teaching her? Yeah, I don't know, it's on the seventh. I'll be, it's not a raise or something. I mean, well,
They're technically,
are we done with the twice?
yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be around?
Oh.
This was, no, but yeah, it's twice. So, PCH. What's PCH? Okay, so it's all these. Which one? Oh, yeah, so here's the Save the Rest for Students, all the Spanish streets are that we found, and for,
So the sides.
the inclusive, so, sorry. So if you go into the MLS for area 128,
Okay.
do that and show you.
Okay.
Because that's easy. That's right. Okay. Sorry, yeah. You all, sorry, it's all minutes, use their best day. She's out early to, almost to people, this was early, she came out every day, walked down the short, deep road. We all have.
Did you ever try to go to the haunted house? It's pretty.
Random?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to always do that.
Oh, yeah. Just do it 2 times. Such fun nights,
Yeah.
trying to get it there.
I'm up there. Well, I was like, it's my friend, we said we would. So we drove her.
We would have to wait until somebody would, and then follow them, and they're probably looking behind them like. oh my God. Max, the day knocker strikes again.
Well, that's because they set them up front.
am I supposed to stop? Stop the video? No.
send me the actual application. We'll set it up now. do, yeah, we're just missing the face part of it, so. Yeah, for sure. Now that it's double fell. I might
shirts, and you're like, what is that?
You're standing up for you.
Nice size. Well,
No idea.
oh. Well, I'll go, ask now.
Uh-oh, I heard. Occupation. Board. I don't know what this was for. How are you? Are you ready to learn? You look so beautiful, green. You? What are you wearing? I saw a dress the other day, I was like, oh my god. Was it interesting? It was like a mix of yellow, green. I can't even, I don't even know what color it was, but I was like, you're the only person I know with it. I was like, yeah, what size you were just telling me, it's like, oh, it's for you. What did she say? Were we live doing something here?
It's ended.
Camera for all of Killer. Stop screen share.
She says, oh,